sad breaking news because the former NFL star O.J. Simpson has died at the age of 76. His family have reported this. They said on April the 10th, our father, Orenthal James Simpson, succumbed to his battle with cancer. He was surrounded by his children and grandchildren. They go on to say during this time of transition, his family asks that you please respect their wishes for privacy and grace. So the news that O.J. Simpson has passed away yesterday at the age of 76. If you want more on this story, Sky News right now for more.
Yes. Oh, God. Having mic issues. Oh, God. Oh, here we go. Hello, humans. Yes. I am Scott Cannon coming to you here live on WLTH 1370 AM. That's 92.7 in the FM dial if you're nasty. And streaming live on Facebook at WLTH Radio from the greatest city in all the world, Gary, Indiana. Yes, still the one and only Gary, Indiana. And this is Straight Out of the Cannon with Scott Cannon. At least it will be if I can get this microphone situation going on. Oh, God. Let me see if I can just prop this up or something. I'm sorry, you guys. But yes, as you heard, that OJ has died. OJ Simpson has died. Oh, wait. Let me take care of this house cleaning first. We're going to get into the most important and biggest news stories nationally and locally. Don't forget to hit me up, 219-885-1371. The number again, 219-885-1371. Now, I have no problem taking your calls as long as they're respectful on topic. If not, then you are, of course, getting the dial tone. Yes. Each caller gets 2 calls. The second call can only be 1 minute because we only got 2 hours here, folks. So please don't take up all of my time. Don't curse. Other than that, we have free speech. It's almost like you could say this is a free speech Friday. Some people would say that. Also, don't start nothing, won't be nothing. And don't forget that the views you hear here are not those of Natalie Ammons, Dr. Marion Williams, or WLTH as a staff, record label, or as a Richard crew. So let's go back to the epilogue. Yes, O.J. Simpson has passed away at the age of 76. O.J., strangely enough, O.J. is one of the most important figures of the 20th century, and maybe the 21st century as well. The O.J. case, it's one of the 3 or 4 events of my lifetime that has changed America more than anything else. I would say the first thing being Lynn Bias overdose, which brought about mass incarceration, and really turned the crack era into something very scary, particularly in the black community. I would say OJ and 9/11. I would say 9/11 would be up there of things that have changed the world in my lifetime. And of course, COVID. So I would put OJ somewhere in that realm of most important moments of my era, of my generation, of my lifetime thus far. And that is a situation that changed our media. Hell, we saw the rise of the Kardashians after this. You know, you don't know who Kim Kardashian is if it's not for O.J. Simpson. Her father was his lawyer in the Dream Team case. And also the sort of reality TV, the crash TV aesthetic is a product of the OJ style. Things like reality TV, the idea of the media being a circus, that a lot of that comes from OJ and the OJ trial. When I was a kid in the 80s and early 90s, the news would be about boring stuff. It'd be about inflation or something happening in the Balkans, or it would be about, just random. It would be about real substantive topics. The media used to take pride in being serious and being about substantive topics. The OJ trial, the OJ case, is when I think the media sort of gave up on legitimacy. They gave up on the idea that news is supposed to be serious, that news has to be serious. It changed the idea of celebrity. It brought race, class, gender, money, wealth, all these things into focus. It just was an all around culture shifting event, and really, it's funny when I hear conservatives say stuff like, America was not divided before Obama got in office. Like, Obama's the reason people talked about race. I'm like, dude, were you alive for the OJ trial? Because I was. I was watching I think it was game 4 of the 1994 NBA Finals during the Bronco chase. I was watching. Me and my older brother were watching the game between the Knicks and the Rockets, the NBA Finals game. I remember that like it was yesterday. It was a circus. And I really can't wait. There's a lot of things I'd like to get into about the OJ case, but this ain't the time to do it. I'm just letting y'all know the man is dead, if you didn't know already. Because the 30th, strangely enough, the 30th anniversary of the murders is coming up in June in about 2 months. So that is what I'm going to save the sort of in-depth look at the OJ trial and all the evidence and the things that I feel like the media didn't talk about when it came to OJ, whether discussing OJ's guilt or innocence, the EDTA in the blood, and Philip Van Adder and Mark Furman pleading the fifth when they asked him if he had tampered with the evidence, all that stuff. We're going to talk about that in June for the 30th anniversary of the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. But yeah, O.J. Simpson, one of the most important. And let me just say this too before I take this call. Callers, stay on in. Look, O.J., love or hate O.J., is still one of the greatest football players who ever lived. O.J. is not just a Hall of Famer. He's a top 5 running back of all time. I would only put Jim Brown and Walter Payton and Barry Sanders above O.J., as just solidly above OJ as a running back. What he did in the 1970s on those god-awful Buffalo Bills teams, where he was the only offensive weapon they had. He took a lot of beatings. I think that's probably one of the reasons that, if you want to bring it back to the murder case, why I was a little bit doubtful that he may have done it. OJ's body was in awful shape by his mid-40s. He took beatings in Buffalo. Legit beatings, probably in San Francisco as well, but not as many. Like I said, those Bills teams he was on were some of the worst teams in NFL history. He was the first man in history to rush for over 2,000 yards in a season. He held that record for a long time in a 14-game season. Now, if guys get 2,000 yards in a 17-game season, it's a big deal. OJ did it in 14 games when you were allowed to literally maul your opponents in the NFL back in the 1970s. That might be a big part of the reason why his body was in such bad shape. It would be something if they had taken his brain and studied if he had CTE, because I would not be shocked if he had CTE and if that wasn't a part of some of his more violent impulses. I'm not saying he did it or didn't. I'm just saying but we do know he had some violent impulses over the years. We know he was, I believe arrested multiple times for domestic violence. It would be intriguing to see if he had a CTE or had something that some form of brain damage. Because even after the murder case, I wondered why he was making some of the decisions he made. Some of the decisions he made were very nonsensical to me. I would go, OJ, why don't you just move to like Jamaica or something and get the hell out of America? Like, what are you doing? Why are you still hanging out with? Why are you still doing it? But if he had CTE or some sort of brain damage from taking all those beatings in Buffalo all those years, it would make sense. Let me get this caller. Hello, caller.
Well, hi there.
What's up?
Hey, if I could make one comment about the whole scenario.
What about it?
Well, there was the initial coroner was changed.
Mm-hmm.
And the reporting then changed also.
Mm-hmm.
The first coroner, I listened to the interview by the first coroner, and he said, the coroner that is, said that there was wounds that said that there were multiple people there in that assailant, in that attack. There wasn't one person because of the number of parries and the left and right parries in other words, the stab wounds were called parries or slashes, and the parries came from either right-handed slashes or right-handed parries or left-handed parries.
Right. And OJ had no defensive wounds on him either.
and so they took the initial coroner off the case when he was they didn't want to hear that evidence. They just didn't want to hear it.
Right.
And so to me, that was like that was the beginning of what we call a cover-up.
Right.
And so that's not fair then, and it can't be impartial if the police then anyway, yeah, I know he had violent tendencies, and look here, 2 strikes and you're out, 3 strikes and you're out, right? Well, the guy's got tendencies, but that doesn't mean he did what they accused him of, nor does it prove it.
Right.
And the fact that the original coroner tried to demonstrate, proved that this was multiple assailants, and they never bothered talking about any second assailants. Now, the painter that was supposed to be some kind of simpleton, well, I'm sure he wasn't. He's probably a sex toy or something. But, that's the guy who they questioned. There was a painter guy that came in the woman's cottage for about a week while he was redoing her house.
Right. We're definitely going to get into all that when we do the 30th anniversary of the OJ trial. But thank you for your call, brother.
Yeah, okay. Have a good day.
It is what it is. All right, folks. When we come back, we're going to get into abortion being banned in Arizona. We're going to talk about the racist roots of the abortion ban and the sort of pro-life movement as it has become now. How race has directly affected how the pro-life movement has come to formation since the 1970s. You guys won't want to miss this. This was actually a very interesting thing reading about this in Politico. You guys won't want to miss this. I know a lot of you are pro-life or pro-choice. I'm not saying either one is right or wrong. I'm just saying we have to look at the origins of the modern pro-life movement. You won't want to miss that when we come back.